When we first open Microsoft Project, we normally will see one of two things. Either we'll get a list of templates from which we can select the items here under New in the File tab, or we'll get a blank project which we can start entering data into directly. For sake of simplicity, we'll go ahead and click Blank Project and see what the program presents us with. We now have the usual default view, which is the Gantt chart, and our typical ribbon at the top. If we click on any of the ribbon tabs, we are immediately taken to that section of the ribbon. We can therefore get to the various commands we want very easily. If we double-click a tab, the ribbon will collapse or fold up, whereupon a single click will open it temporarily. We can do whatever we need to do. The ribbon will then tuck itself back into storage. However, if we give any of the tabs another double click, the ribbon will lock open once again and allow us to continue working with it more easily. If we go to the View tab, we can change our views, the various ways we look at our data, pretty easily. And among the most common is indeed the Gantt chart. We can see that this is our current view as well down here on the extreme left edge of the window. If we wanted to change over to the resource sheet, another commonly used view, we can click that button under the View tab in the Resource Views group. And again, we will need to enter some data here. Returning to the Gantt chart, though, we can see that the One tab, the context-sensitive or pop-up tab, has changed in accordance. If we click Resource Sheet yet again and glance up, we can see it becomes the Resource Sheet Tools Format tab. Switching back to the Gantt chart again, it becomes the Gantt Chart Tools Format tab. If we want to open a typical project file, we would follow the usual procedure. We can go to the File tab, we can click the command for Open, and then, in most cases, we would need to browse. Navigating to our exercise files and into the folder here for Lesson 1, I will go ahead and open the file called Typical Commercial Construction Lesson 1, or L1, by double-clicking, and I am now presented with a typical project plan. On the left side, in the Task Name column, we see our high and low-level tasks in order. You'll hear the term tasks and subtasks, rather like the outline for a term paper or research paper. We also see durations, start dates, finish dates. We see task ID numbers here on the extreme left. And among the ID numbers, task number 0, a project summary task, which we'll talk about later. This can be turned on under the Gantt Chart Tools Format tab and allows us to see the overall duration, start and finish date of the project. The check mark for it can be found here in the Show Hide group. The divider line between the text and graphic sides of the Gantt can be dragged left or right as we see fit to show more or less information on either side. There's no best or worst position for it. We simply move it back and forth according to what we want to see and how much room we care to give whichever item. If we wanted to change the duration of a task, we could go over here to the duration numbers. And for example, if we wanted to change the duration of task number 2, receive notice to proceed and sign contract, we could click that section, click that square, use the spinner arrows to move the number up or down, or type it if we prefer, and hit enter. We then see, first of all, that the bar that represents its duration has changed length. We also see a light blue highlight on a number of the other tasks telling us that those tasks have been shifted time-wise as well. If we use undo, either the button up here or Control Z, the number goes back to its previous and the blue highlight disappears. If, as I mentioned a moment ago, we go to our View tab and click Resource Sheet in Resource Views, we see that some information has been entered for our various resources. Some of them are bold and red, indicating that they're over-allocated. We'll see how to fix that later. But if we were to click any space here, we'd be able to enter or change the information. We would, for example, be able to enter proper names, resource types, pay rates, and so on.